Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Welcome to Top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show, where each week I rank movies in a variety of categories, from franchise and subgenre to directors and actors. No film is left unwatched as I break down my top 5 picks. So join me every Monday or Sunday. Join me every Sunday, that's when the show comes out, for new episodes, and get ready to dive into the world of film with Top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show. All right, groovy folks, you asked for it, and just like Ash with his trusty chainsaw hand, I'm here to deliver. Because today, we're diving deep into the woods, where unspeakable horrors and some slapstick comedy awaits. Now, I wouldn't recommend reading any old book even, that you find in a creepy cabin, but I do recommend watching every movie in the Evil Dead franchise. This legendary series, helmed by the mastermind Sam Raimi and the chin-tastic Bruce Campbell, have been possessing our screens and our nightmares for decades. Whether it's facing deadites, time-traveling to medieval England, or running amok in a possessed cabin, our hero Ash Williams never fails to cut right to the action. And yes, that was a chainsaw pun. From low-budget splatter fest to big-budget TV extravaganzas, Evil Dead has seen it all. So join me, if you dare, as we rank the top 5 movies in the Evil Dead franchise. And don't worry, I've made sure the episode isn't cursed. Well, mostly. All right, my fellow S-Mart shoppers, grab your boomsticks because we're about to embark on one hell of a cinematic journey. And remember, shop smart, shop S-Mart. This is a franchise of films that I've been wanting to watch for many years now. And I feel like I've seen at least one of these movies, maybe a couple of them, when I was younger. But for the most part, I don't remember those, so mostly this was a first-time watch. It felt like a fresh watch, as fresh as you can get. And even similar to last week's Child Play franchise, Evil Dead goes all over the place tonally. It has some great films in every tone that it does delve into, but does go from the serious to the slapstick comedic, heavy comedy horror, to serious, gory horror. It goes all over the place, and I really did enjoy this franchise a lot. So let's get into it with my top 5 Evil Dead movies. Starting off with number 5, this movie is the remake Evil Dead from 2013. This is a supernatural horror film directed by Fede Alvarez in his directorial debut, produced by Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell, as well as Robert Tappert, all of whom were involved in the original Evil Dead series. The film is both a reboot and a continuation from the series. While it pays homage to the original 1981 film, it distinguishes itself with a fresh plot and more intense, gory, and serious tone, lacking the comedic elements found in the original series. The story revolves around 5 friends who gather in a remote cabin in the woods, pretty much the same. The main character, however, Mia, played by Jane Levy, is brought to the cabin by her brother David, played by Shiloh Fernandez, and her friends to help her overcome her drug addiction and to go through withdrawal. While in the cabin, the group stumble upon a mysterious book known as the Necronomicon, or the Book of the Dead. And despite clear warnings described in the book not to read it, one of the friends, Eric, Lou Taylor Pucci, recites an incantation from it. This act inadvertently summons the malevolent demons residing in the nearby woods. As a result, the group experience horrifying visions and events, with Mia becoming the first to be possessed. One by one, the friends fall victim to the evil forces, turning them against each other. The film is filled with intense, graphic scenes and moments that are reminiscent of the original, such as the infamous tree scene and the possession theme. Evil Dead from 2013 received mixed to positive reviews from both critics and audiences. Fans of the original series had varying opinions. Obviously, some appreciated the darker, more serious tone and modern effects, while others missed the campiness and humor of the original films. Jane Levy's performance was wildly praised, and many admire the film's practical effects and commitment to gore. The film was also a commercial success, grossing over $97 million worldwide against a budget of only $17 million. It further solidified Evil Dead as a prominent and enduring franchise in the horror genre. Standout moments, in my opinion, there's an aspect of this that is the drug addiction with one of the characters, which is really great. I think it adds to the story and the themes of the Evil Dead movies, which also relates to how the demons in prior movies act and pretend they are okay when switching to evil when they don't get their way or don't get what they want. Very common characteristic with the Deadites in previous films, luring people in, acting like they're normal, acting like everything's okay, and as soon as they don't get what they want, they revert to their demonic ways, and that's very similar to a drug addict going through withdrawals. You have the final girl with the chainsaw who has her hand torn off after being trapped under an overturned car. Was absolutely amazing. Another aspect, there's always, in all of these movies, there are the elements from the originals, right? There's always a chainsaw. Somebody's always got a sawed-off shotgun. There's lines that are used in different contexts, which is all fun. But I really did enjoy Evil Dead, despite the fact that it's here at number 5. You know, I like the grounded nature of it, but again, it was a remake. And let me tell you, I've got an issue with the movies in this franchise that remake and retread over the same stuff as the original, because I did watch these in release order, so let that little clue you into something that might be a little controversial. But coming in number 5, my 5th favorite, my least favorite in the Evil Dead franchise, but still a great movie nonetheless, is Evil Dead from 2013. Moving on to my 4th favorite film in the Evil Dead franchise. This one could be the most controversial, I would say. And I understand that because I watched these in order, probably contributed to my feelings of this movie being here at number 4. However, that's how I watched them. And, despite the fact I have this one at number 5 or at number 4, I can understand why people would have this a lot higher, and I wouldn't be surprised if people have this as number 1. But coming in number 4 is Evil Dead 2. This came out in 1987, horror comedy. So this one leaned far more into the comedy as opposed to the first one. Film directed similarly as the first one by Sam Raimi, co-written by Sam Raimi and Scott Spiegel. It is a sequel, quote-unquote, to the 1981 film, The Evil Dead. Though the movie starts by briefly summarizing the events of the first film, it quickly evolves into its own blend of horror and slapstick comedy, leading it to often be described as a splat-stick, a portmanteau of splatter and slapstick. The film begins with a shortened retelling of the first movie, focusing on Ash Williams, played by Bruce Campbell, and his girlfriend Linda, and their trip to a remote cabin in the woods. They come across the Necronomicon, Book of the Dead, and a tape recording of incantations. When played, the tape releases a malevolent force that possesses Linda. The movie then progresses from where the first film left off. Ash, having survived the night, finds himself continuously battling against demonic forces. As daylight fades, the horror resumes, and he struggles to maintain his sanity amidst the chaos. As the story unfolds, other characters are introduced, including Annie, the daughter of the archaeologist who discovered the Necronomicon, and her research partner, Ed. They, along with local hillbilly couple, end up at the cabin and join Ash in the nightmarish ordeal, very much doing a beat-for-beat remake. Not really remake beat for beat as the first one, but not really changing up much, adding a lot of stuff. But it's definitely a remake. The movie contains many iconic sequences, obviously, which is why people probably put this at their number one, wouldn't be surprised, including Ash's hand becoming possessed and his subsequent self-amputation using the chainsaw. Then he modifies the chainsaw to replace his severed hand, becoming one of the characteristics of the most iconic looks for the series. While Evil Dead 2 was not a major blockbuster upon its initial release, it has since gained a massive cult following and is often hailed as one of the best horror sequels of all time. The films, to call this a sequel, I disagree, but whatever. The film's blend of over-the-top gore, inventive camera work, and dark humor set it apart from other horror movies of the era. Bruce Campbell's charismatic and physically comedic performance as Ash has made the character a horror icon. The film's success eventually led to another sequel, Army of Darkness, from 1992, and further solidified Sam Raimi's reputation as a master of innovative, low-budget filmmaking. Evil Dead 2 is both a terrifying horror movie and a laugh-out-loud comedy, and its unique tone has influenced countless filmmakers in both genres. For me, after having watched the first film, this felt way too much like a remake. I do like the slapstick, but wish it had made a move that wasn't so similar, that made a movie that wasn't so similar to the first. Like the fact that this is supposed to be a remake, and yet Ash goes back. I mean, I guess they changed it, right? In the remake, the brief retelling of the first movie, he just goes to the cabin by himself with his girlfriend instead of the other three people that were in the first movie. And then everything is very comical, the bridge being blown up, but then he ends up stuck at that same cabin anyway with more people. A lot of the similarities happen that were in the first movies. It's just way campier, and I don't know. If it had been an actual sequel, felt more like a sequel than a reboot, then I would have appreciated it. Especially the big swings. It felt so much like a rehashing of the first movie. Like even a new location, just change something or make the title different. You know, just lean into the fact that it's a remake, that you wanted to remake the first movie with more fun, more slapsticky stuff. Don't title it Evil Dead 2. I don't know. But that's why my issues with this, that's why it's at number 4. It's just like it felt so much like a remake, but just more of a slapstick remake than an actual doing something new, which Army of Darkness did very much something new, by far the most different of the franchise. But coming in at number 4 for me, my fourth favorite is Evil Dead 2. Obviously, if I were to rewatch these movies, they would be segmented. I would either just watch the first one or just watch Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, or just watch the remakes. But watching them in order doesn't do Evil Dead 2 any favors. Let's take a break from the podcast for one short moment because I want to tell everybody out there about my art series, The Many Faces. They are original ink paintings on paper, abstract and surreal faces that I release every single day. I want to say, not only can you purchase the original paintings, which there are over 2,300 available through my website, inspireddisorder.com, but now I am also offering limited edition prints. These prints are signed, these prints are numbered, and they are limited to 5 prints per image. And these prints are made by me. So you get the highest quality print made by the artist himself, signed by me, shipped by me, all of that stuff by me. And it's a great way to collect my art if you want to save a little bit of money, because obviously the originals cost more, prints cost less. So now is the time to head on over to inspireddisorder.com and start collecting some original artwork. Take your walls to the next level with original artwork by myself, Ray Taylor, by going to inspireddisorder.com, shopping now, buying artwork. Take your walls to the next level, experience the magic of art, and start your art collection today. Buy original artwork, buy high-quality limited edition prints, and so much more. InspiredDisorder.com. And now let's get back to the show. But let's move on. 2, my third favorite Evil Dead film. This movie, kind of surprising. I could almost see putting this at number 1. These top 3, I think, are interchangeable for a lot of different reasons. But this one was surprising and could have easily been at number 1. But that one, coming at number 3, the most recent of the franchise, is Evil Dead Rising. This movie came out this year, 2023, and a continuation of the iconic Evil Dead series, which diverges from the isolated cabin in the woods trope, which isn't the first time they've diverted from that, and brings the evil to an urban setting, which is new, which I do like. The movie, directed and penned by Lee Cronin, serves as the 5th chapter in the Evil Dead cinematic saga. While the previous films have primarily taken place in a secluded, rustic locations, Evil Dead Rise changes the game by moving the horror to a condemned apartment complex in Los Angeles. The film's cast includes Lily Sullivan, Elisa Sutherland, Morgan Davis, Gabriel Echoes, and introduces Nell Fisher in her movie debut. The film's narrative is a roller coaster, starting off with a horrifying scene where characters Teresa and Jessica, alongside Jessica's boyfriend Caleb, face an unmanageable terror at a lakeside cabin. However, this gruesome episode sets the tone for what is to come. Great opening scene. A day prior to this shocking incident, the story introduces us to Beth, who, after finding out about her pregnancy, decides to visit her sister Ellie and her kids Danny, Bridget, and the young Casey. The setting is at apartments. These apartments, a dilapidated building in LA, soon becomes the epicenter of the horror. A seemingly innocuous earthquake reveals a hidden chamber in the apartment's basement. Curiosity gets the best of Danny, who uncovers ancient religious relics, and most critically, the Necronomicon, a book of with all the crazy powers to summon the Deadites. From the moment the Deadites are summoned, the building turns into a claustrophobic nightmare. Evil Dead Rise is a testament to the franchise's ability to reinvent itself by transporting the horror from a secluded forest to an urban dwelling. The film manages to keep the essence of the original while offering a fresh perspective. Lee Cronin's take on the story pays homage to Sam Raimi's original while paving a new path for the series. The urban setting introduces new challenges and fears, proving that the Deadites can terrorize anywhere. The film, filled with its fair share of gore, tension, and classic Evil Dead elements, like the chainsaw, like a shotgun, like some catchy one-liners, is a worthy addition to the beloved franchise, in my opinion. I love this movie. So many great moments. The title sequence with the possessed woman floating above the lake is great. When one of the possessed bites the eye out of one guy, then spits the eye out into the mouth of another, causing him to choke, was great. You have one of the possessed girls eating glass to kill creepy crawlers in her tummy. Then one character uses a cheese grater on somebody's calf. Absolutely great. There's so many great moments in this. Easily, seriously, I could put this at number 1 and I'd be happy with it. Just because it does new things while still, I prefer. I like the serious tone of it, and I like that they changed a lot of the things up with it. I really had a lot of fun watching it, so that's why coming at number 3 is Evil Dead Rise. Moving on to my second favorite Evil Dead movie. If you can do math, there's only two left. Flip a coin, and you might guess what is coming in at number 2, which I'm going to tell you right now, is The Evil Dead, the very first, released in 1981. This is a horror film. I don't think it's got much comedy in it. It's pretty straight-up horror that launched the careers of the director Sam Raimi as well as Bruce Campbell. Over the years, the film has gained cult status and is regarded as one of the seminal horror films of its era. You have 5 college students, Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, his sister Cheryl, and his girlfriend Linda, and their friend Scotty and Shelley head to a remote cabin in the woods for a vacation. While there, they discover the Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon, and a tape recorder. Playing the tape, they inadvertently release the ancient evil that begins to possess them one by one. The demonic presence in the woods is an unseen force that terrorizes the group. As members of the group become possessed, they transform into monstrous versions of themselves known as Deadites. The demonic entities are determined to kill or possess any living human. Ash, the film's main protagonist, watches in horror as his friends and sister are taken over by the malevolent force. The film takes a descent into madness and gore as Ash fights for his survival against the once close friends who are now hell-bent on his destruction. Made on a shoestring budget, The Evil Dead is notable for its innovative camera techniques, intense practical effects, and over-the-top gore. Raimi's distinct and kinetic directorial style paired with Campbell's memorable performance made the film stand out. Despite its graphic content, which led to some controversial and censorship in various countries, this movie at one point was rated X. The film was successful and praised for its atmosphere, creativity, and commitment to the horror genre. The Evil Dead spawned a franchise that included sequels, a reboot, video game, TV series, and even a musical adaptation. It is highly influential and is often referred to or parodied in pop culture. The film's mix of intense horror with moments of dark humor become a trademark in the series, particularly in the sequels. In general, The Evil Dead is a landmark in independent horror cinema, showcasing what can be achieved with limited resources, but boundless creativity and passion. Some great moments in this movie. There's a moment where one of the characters is stabbed in the ankle with a pencil. Very gruesome. You have this demonic woman bites her own hand off after this dude cuts at it. You have one person having their limbs chopped off. You get Scotty gets messed up. All kinds of compound fractures. The practical effects and goriness of this movie were amazing. Just a lot of crazy camera angles as well. A lot of crazy camera movement as well. You have an epic scene, the hand through the mirror, and it turns into water, is so epic. And is an element that is brought back in many of the sequels, with mirrors being kind of a place of crazy things happening. Also, the thumbs in the eye is a very gruesome scene. Many great scenes of this straight-up horror film, I would say, that I enjoyed more than the remake Evil Dead 2. And that is why it is here at number 2. The Evil Dead from 1981. Let's take another quick break from this podcast episode because I want to share with you a way to make some easy money on the side if you're looking to make some extra money and you want to do it making content. You don't have to have a massive following on social media. You don't even have to have social media accounts. All you have to do is have the ability to either take pictures or videos. And that's by creating user-generated content and go through the company that I go through, that I make money, that I do myself. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com/UGC. That stands for user-generated content. Inspireddisorder.com/UGC. You can check out all of the content that I've made so far for brands, for products, which the bonus, not only are they paying you to take selfies with their product, not only are they paying you to review their product or demo their product, but you're also getting free products, which is always nice. So it's a little bit of a bonus. Not only are you getting paid, but you're getting free products. Sign up through my link and join Brands. That is the company that I use that connects content creators with companies that have products that they need their products to be shared, content made of it, reviewed, unboxed, whatever it is. Very easy to sign up. The certification process is very easy, proving that you are able to take pictures that look good, you're able to take videos that are edited well, and you understand what the assignments are as far as how-to videos, unboxing videos, things of that nature. It is a very easy setup process. Links to that, inspireddisorder.com/UGC, and that's where you can see product reviews, product photos, how-to videos, unboxing videos, product demos that I have done with Join Brands in the past to make money, and I continue to do it today. So head on over to inspireddisorder.com/UGC and check it out and sign up through my link, inspireddisorder.com/UGC. Now let's get back to the show. Now, everybody, if keeping score, you know what's next. There's only one movie I haven't talked about, and this is by far the most different. This movie is unlike any other Evil Dead movie aside from a character. But this is so much fun, especially after having watched Evil Dead 2 that I felt was kind of a bummer and just a basic remake. Not a basic. They did a lot of stuff, but it was just like, I don't know. It bothered me. Evil Dead 2 bothered me. And then going from that to this, I was like, I love the big swing. I love that it goes where this goes, which is insane. That is why, coming in at number one, I should say, the insanity of Army of Darkness is my favorite Evil Dead film. It is by far the most fun I had watching any of these movies, which, but it's also the least like any of the other movies. This came out in 1992, horror comedy. I would also say very much supernatural action-adventure. This is very much an action-adventure movie. A lot of adventure, directed by Sam Raimi in the third installment in the Evil Dead franchise after the horror-focused first film and the hybrid horror comedy of Evil Dead 2. Army of Darkness leans more heavily into the comedy and fantasy genre, making it a distinct within the trilogy. The film continues the adventures of Ash Williams, once again played by charismatic Bruce Campbell, picking up basically directly after the events of Evil Dead 2. Where that movie left off, Ash was just transported from the cabin in the woods to the medieval past, specifically the year 1300 AD. He finds himself in a time of knights, castles, and magic, where he first is captured by Lord Arthur's men, who suspect him of being an agent from their enemy, Duke Henry. After a harrowing encounter with a deadite, which is in a pit, Ash proves his mettle and is released. Soon after, he learns of the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Book of the Dead, which has the power to send him back to his own time. However, retrieving the book won't be easy. Ash, in his attempt to get the book, inadvertently awakens an army of the dead. Realizing his mistake and driven by a desire to return home, he decides to stand with the kingdom's inhabitants and fight against the Deadite army. With its trademark blend of cocky bravado and slapstick humor, Ash leads the medieval soldiers in a battle against the undead. Employing his 20th century knowledge to craft weapons and defenses, along the way there are plenty of misadventures, including Ash's hilarious battle with the many versions of him that came from the mirror, the emergence of an evil doppelganger, Bad Ash, which is also hilarious. Army of Darkness has a distinctively different tone from its predecessors, embracing a campy, swashbuckling style mixed with the series' signature humor. Though it was not a major box office hit upon its initial release, the film has since gained significant cult following and often quoted by fans, "This is my boomstick," and "Hail to the king, baby." The film's playful approach to horror and fantasy, combined with Bruce Campbell's over-the-top performance, solidified Army of the Darkness as a unique and beloved entry in the Evil Dead series. Subsequent to this film, the character of Ash would further continue his adventures battling Deadites in the TV series Ash vs. Evil Dead, which ran from 2015 to 2018. And because of watching these movies, I really want to dive into that series and see what happens. Great moments in this movie. Him with a chainsaw arm and his boomstick. He's like a superhero in this one, which I really kind of enjoyed. The unlimited bullets. Obviously, he never reloads. I'm just like, he's in medieval times. Where is he getting bullets from? You have the A-Team style helicopter tank, which I thought was really cool. And the final the final fight at S-Mart, I thought was a lot of fun. This movie in general was so much fun. So different from any of the other films. I just had a blast watching it. And that's why it's the least Evil Dead film, while also being my favorite Evil Dead film. And that is why coming in number 1 is Army of Darkness. Obviously, there's no honorable mentions because there's only 5 movies. They do plan on making more, but I do want to check out the show now that I've finally watched these films. I also want to watch more of Sam Raimi's films as well now that I kind of understand his vibe and have seen these movies finally. But let's recap the list and get out of here, shall we? This is my top 5 Evil Dead movies ranked. Starting off with number 5 is Evil Dead from 2013. Number 4 is Evil Dead 2. Number 3 is Evil Dead Rise. Number 2 is The Evil Dead from 1981. And my number 1 favorite Evil Dead movie, and the least Evil Dead of all of the Evil Dead movies, is Army of Darkness, coming in at number 1. I would love to hear how you would rank these movies. Obviously, people are going to be upset with the fact that I have Evil Dead 2 at my number 4 slot. But regardless, thank you all for tuning in to my top 5 from The Ray Taylor Show. I do hope that you enjoyed my rankings and analysis of my top 5 Evil Dead movies. And please let me know how you would rank the movies in your opinion. And join the conversation by leaving a comment or rating on your favorite podcast platform or over on youtube.com/inspireddisorder, where all these episodes are available in video form. Don't forget to tune in next Sunday for an all-new episode. And see you again next week for more Top 5. Subscribe to The Ray Taylor Show on YouTube and everywhere podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Purchase Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.